A blade in the dark.
It's done. Beetles? Voracious little devils. They're what caused this whole mess. You can kill one easily enough, but there's a great swarm of them chewing through the Adra. My Adra. There's only the arm now. Missions. What exactly happened here? Longtail. Adra beetles. Not enough survival, I might have been able to realize something. That is not the beetles. Okay. Anything about the master below? Right. Ardnua. Well, at least you get a better understanding what's going on here if you do this step.
A blade in the dark.
Why wouldn't I kill him though? I mean, he has a nice looking armor, doesn't he? Just a casual observation. Um, I need to get rid of the wizards. Gargoyles are not really a problem.
Well, as you
The
wish.
bigger problem is... how the hell am I gonna start this? Bow area of effect, it probably won't affect them then.
Lavaru beyond sea.
Well, he's the main problem, so we might as well awaken him.
What is it?
The wizards are gone. We're gonna need some help here, there's no getting around that little fact. They'll have these Adra beetles. Seem to be enjoying them, so let's... not sure if that's a good idea. Have to do something. Yeah, this is not a good place to be. And it has to be something drastic, otherwise it won't really kill anyone. It has to be summons. Shit. Just needed something to take the pressure off. Be able to blind them.
What is it? Lava.
Burn in
Our enemy.
Okay, not too bad. He's in a bit of a good of a condition for me to do much.
Well, lava.
You know the drill. Up defenses, start
Well,
stepping.
lava. Beyond.
Doing great damage. But concussion? And he die. The armor probably does it, so he has to be killed twice. Okay with that. No problem.
Keeping an eye out.
There it is.
As you wish.
Grant second chance on unconscious, 1 per rest, plus 2 lore. That's actually nice. This would have... It's really just a heavy armor though. Second chance on unconsciousness is the ability. Here we would have better defenses when your health gets low, so damage resistance probably gets more or less around 10 extra points. It's not a minor thing, especially through melee combat. We're going to be much harder to deal the killing blow. The opening damage resistance is 12. Same with this. So it's basically the same armor. Different look. Plus 2 lore. That would mean we don't have to use this medallion. We're using it to gain access to the 10 lore we need. Endurance regeneration is totally meaningless. The damage reduction is not. With this we could fail once. Survive with 30 endurance. I think the 2 lore changes things. I would not use this without the 2 lore. But we could choose a different medallion. It's not a minor thing. 10 deflection against range attacks, mirrored images, 3 per rest. Perception 3, +1 stealth. 15 endurance. 15 defense when disengaging. Perception 2, 33. Will 5. Damage reduction burn. Perception. Defense against spells. This is a big problem, especially in the last boss fight. I mean, constant attacks from a cleric. +10 isn't a huge amount, but it would be on top of everything else already, the other boss, so it would help. Reflex, healing received. Intellect, resolve. Saving throws. Will. Saving throws might not be a terrible option either, because we could switch one of our protection rings to something else. 20% of damage increase against vessels and spirits. I think we have a proper protection cloak. Shimmering. Nope. Summon noble creature, you're right. Always forgetting about this. I don't know. It's not exactly totally mandatory for us to be constantly able to use these scrolls either. Definitely more of a specialty situation thing. I certainly don't think we have an optimal setup currently. We sort of have something we just inherited, because at some point I stopped looking at what's happening. Shitty items because there was not a definite reason. They were not obviously much stronger.
Lava. Beyond sea. Lava. Beyond
Much we can realistically do.
sea.
We have plus 70 to our rolls. We're not getting criticals. There it is.
Lava. Beyond sea.
-6 armor.
Lava room beyond sea.
We're still in fairly good shape with a lot of abilities. Summons and everything. 2 rests. Wrong racial focus, but I sort of expected more from the vampire that was acted as a ruler of this place. What's on the next level? This is a trap level. There's spirits here mostly. Yeah, torture rooms and everything. I recall at least this partially. The room with spikes on the floor. Right. I think there was like one item that can be easily taken from the other side. The rest are empty and one of them has a key to the exit. So it's your choice, either go through here or fight through these rooms. Only some kind of thievery ability determines how much are the spikes gonna hit you or not. So you have a chance to try to sneak through. Or alternatively, you're gonna pay with blood. It just there's the crystal caves. Swamp slime. Can you be... Yes, you can.
Lava room beyond sea.
Yeah, this is a little bit of too much of a universal because everything. I feel there should be some adjustment done to the status effect thing. I feel grazing hit should not cause the full effect. That might be the sort of least intrusive option to change things. Alternatively, you might have to change a lot of things, but go through each individual ability and have a weakened effect.
I'll see it done.
Mechanics 11 needed. Jesus Christ. 11 needed to even try. Well, I'm not sure where else would I use these, so I don't recall seeing these in any shops.
They won't see.
It's finished.
That's no good. Okay, what exactly can we do?
Well, Arthur Worthen Wrath!
Get good hits in.
Yes.
What happened?
Lava beyond sea!
Okay. We don't need stun locking on an enemy like this.
As you wish.
Scroll of Paralysis. Boiling Spray.
I see something.
Ring of Protection.
Where there's a pick, there's a way. It's finished.
Right. I think that's the only thing worth taking from this place. We did end, if I recall correctly. Right, not exactly too impressive of a level, and this is still probably one of the larger levels still left. Withrak. Hostile Withrak. You son of a bitch. Right. I don't recall at all how strong their defenses are.
Lava.
They're at least immune to this. That was obvious right from the start, so I'm not sure what the fuck was I thinking.
beyond sea.
Fences aren't that high.
No prisoners!
Nasty little things, but no durability.
Keeping an eye out.
Hotfix. Some kind of secret button there. Crystal Eater Withrak. Right. Things are getting exciting here. How much endurance do you have? Exact has 172, but that's level 11. Level 8. It's probably around 150 at most.
Lava beyond.
Petrifies. I don't think we should take risks here.
Yes.
Block her.
Well, bigger shares for
Kill the Widowmaker. Petrified and attacked after that.
the rest of us.
Ah, thank God.
So much for that one. Keeping an eye out.
Crystal sons
As
of
you
bitches are
wish.
very, very, very dangerous. Might be the only creature that has a natural petrification ability. Atrogans certainly have a petrification ability, but quite often they don't use it. Broken Blade. Find more pieces. But Crystal Eaters seem to do it naturally, like it's a passive ability that's attached to their normal strikes.
It's finished.
That said, I haven't paid too much attention of how Atrogans actually apply that petrification effect. I just assume it's coming sooner rather than later. Spirits. Few of them. No summons left anymore.
Arthur, Worthen, Wrath!
Only got 2 or 4. That's weak. Near death, badly injured. Well, if I cast pretty much anything of the offensive front, that's enough to kill them. Alternatively, I could just try to beat the shit out of them. Crystal Eater Spiderlock. Yeah, it's not gonna be the only Crystal Eater here. Withrak, with wheels. We could try this, but it doesn't look good. Still, I think we have a reasonable chance. But they can petrify us. That is also an unfortunate reality of things. This will not help. This will certainly not help. Well, -5 duration. Well, it works in the wrong mechanic. Why the fuck did you go there? Are you doing something? Right. And you're not doing anything again. We're petrified, definitely. The problem is, no matter what I do, they need to have more people here so I can. Okay. I would definitely want more than 2 guys at a time to be trapped here.
Lava room beyond sea.
Another Withrak. Okay, this is starting to look much better. Unbelievable.
Yes. So much for you.
Raises hits crits. Yeah, we still need to have them to block this, otherwise we'll die. If the larger Crystal Eater gets to us, it's all over. Yeah, God's a little bit slower than I am. And they're sort of giving up. Don't mind that at all. But
Lava room beyond sea.
move. Move. Don't move.
Lava room beyond sea.
Right. Okay.
Lava room beyond
Do it this way then.
sea.
Ah. Right. Probably the final fight before we have access to some kind of stairs. Well, or not.
Lava room. Nah.
More resistant to piercing damage, but doesn't matter. Status effect is the only thing that matters. I sort of like that. I sort of like the fact that it's more predictable. I mean, you can actually properly work toward getting the best out of the item, but at the same time, it being 100% mathematically calculated, so you can get it hit every time. It leads to a situation where the fight never happens. An opponent like that would be easy even without the stun luckiness, so it doesn't really change much, and it's much harder to achieve on harder targets. So it's not quite as ridiculously broken as it might seem. However, at least some of the balancing comes from the fact that I'm alone. I don't have the luxury of just having other people work on me. I have weaker attack than other classes would have, so there's quite a bit of room to push higher, and push higher fast. So it's a very powerful ability, there's no getting around that. Right. Crystal caverns and stairs down. Have to rest. Probably should take focus toward beasts at this point. There are a few others, but beasts are probably the most numerous. Either way, I'll finish doing this and end this level and end it there. Pogra, Shadow, Attributals.
Lava room beyond sea.
Kill a shade. Grass didn't like this situation too much either. For a shade. Incoming lightning blast. These are actually quite weak. Why aren't you doing anything? Right, the Adder Beetle is the big problem. And this should resolve that.
What is it? So,
Cleansing Flame already activated. When? Like I don't even recall when the last time was.
our enemy
That ability just bugs out way too often.
is will find us.
Lava room beyond sea.
Can't touch. This is additional effect. Yeah, he's immune. I'm not sure why he's immune. Deflection negative, but there's no indication why certain things should be immune to this. Adder Beetles just are. Might and Constitution drain. Not seeing it. I don't think I want to use the spear on this. At least not yet.
Lava room beyond sea.
And then
A blade in the dark.
exactly is there still to do? Stairs down. Some kind of specialty reward here. But it's there's no reason to go here unless there's something as a reward.
As you wish.
Spirits and beetles. Two topaz. That's it. That's weak. Let's be something better. Beetle, 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 beetle.
Lava room beyond sea.
Exactly is going on there. And the stone beetles can burrow, right? How do you feel about fire? Let's try this. Ah, shit. Won't work.
Well,
We're gonna just burn them then.
Arthur Worthen Wrath!
Hacker Beetle, Swamp Slime, Swamp Slime. If we basically do anything with the Hacker Beetles, that's basically the fight over. Right. Maybe certain people shouldn't be stunned. Like a slime. Does it really need to be stunned? It's a slime. Cost doesn't really matter. You were supposed to cast a spell again, didn't?
Lava will be on sea!
I think that's my fault this time though. Right, Divine Mark and stunned. And stunned. The fight is over. Armor class minus 14. I'm sort of thinking of the opinion, I'm not sure how is a negative armor class a good thing. I suppose it has to be expected. You have to allow it. Otherwise, on lower levels or lower level characters wouldn't really suffer from certain buffs too much.
Of course.
But is that really a problem? I mean, they're lower level characters. They're already sort of worthless. But I wouldn't want to balance this status effect thing through that mechanic. It sort of seems like a bad solution to the problem. Right, I'll end things here. So what do we have? 6 levels left? Yeah, 6 levels left. One is Adra, one is just talking to one of the dead guys, one is the Withrak level, so there's still about a handful of smaller levels. And I do mean there should be a couple of, like 1/4 of the level of this. At least a couple. So, while we're still a long way away from our target, I think it's not actually unreasonable that we might be able to push quite a bit deeper. We're just running out of supplies. I wish we encountered the Withrak fairly soon. I think I can buy extra supplies from them as long as I stay friendly. But yeah, in the way, it's not sure if we have a setup that's good against the Atro Dragon. If we're gonna rely on scrolls, as I think we must, I mean, fire is not gonna work on it at all. We might be able to use the fire spells to quickly clear out the extras. But to kill it, we're gonna need something else, and that attack power has to come from somewhere. I don't think I have the luxury of trying to do some kind of stun lock on it. So, yeah, I just don't see that happening. Even if I could get it to stun lock, I would still have to maintain the buffs, a huge amount of buffs and maybe potions to keep my own attack ratings high enough, or his debuffs on, and I don't see that. That's just not happening. So we're gonna have to deal the damage. I think he's immune to lightning too, so we basically all our damage dealing spells are gonna be worthless against him. We have our range weapons that do raw damage, and then we have the scrolls. Paralysis will not work. Petrification will not work. The damage resistance is too high for the missile swarm. So we basically have maybe a couple spells we can try. Maelstrom sort of weak because only the freeze damage will go through 19 to 26, so I wouldn't even bother. But the Scroll of Stag's Horn. But if we're gonna use something like this, we have to have a might focus field. Otherwise, we're not doing enough damage to get any significant numbers to go through. So we would have to redesign our character again. I'm not sure where we could basically steal the points away anymore. We have to have some intelligence. Intelligence will also translate to some of the damage, but not again in for those piercing damage scrolls. There, it's all might and nothing else. So full might. Not sure if dexterity would be something we would want. I think a decent amount of intelligence, high perception, full might. Accuracy is damage. Anything that buffs the damage further, anything that bypasses the damage resistances. We're talking probably around 30 points of damage resistances. I might have something that reduces it by like 5 points, but it's not gonna make a difference, and trying to uphold that kind of a debuff is a gigantic waste of time. Still, we're talking about an opponent that probably has around 500 hit points. So let's say about 50% of each scroll goes through. That's about 30 damage, assuming we have a higher might, so we do more damage. With these scrolls we couldn't do that. But around 30 points might go through, especially if we're being buffed, so we're going to do closer to the maximum damage than closer to the minimum damage. Especially if it's he'll be maintaining debuffs thanks to these two, so it should keep things going on its own way as long as we have our buffs in place. We're still talking about 20 attacks from something like this to take it down. Naturally, we can add the venom strikes there, assuming it's not immune to poison. Didn't really think about that. I don't think so. It's a living creature. So we can add maybe 100 to 150 through the poison. It takes a long time, but so does do the scrolls. You can easily mix them in between each other. So we're still talking about a minimum of 10 stacks horns and very successful hits on the venoms, which is very unlikely. Point is, we're going to have to get some kind of additional damage sources. Maybe we can afford like 15 stacks horn scrolls to be on the safe side, but we're still gonna need something else. We're still gonna need another angle we can leverage. Yeah, we have to basically get the range damage attacks to work. We might have options. Oil slicks did work on it the first time. I don't think we can do that, but we might get something else to hit. Something that might disable it a little bit. It doesn't matter what it really is. At least a little bit of damage just goes through, and we're not put in danger at the same time, and it's all good. Maybe web. Web seems to be a thing of its own. But it's against Fortitude. Insect Swarm does a lot of piercing damage. Duration effects too. But again, it's versus Fortitude. I think Deflection is an easier thing to try to target. However, this would also be Intelligence affected. So Might and Intelligence would both aid here quite a bit. It has potential. Crackling Bolt. It will be immune to this. Ooh, this has some potential again. And it's just too little. You need a gigantic burst. The Stag's Horn delivers on that front. Also the debuff on the defensive attacks, that certainly makes it more desirable. Rush damage, pierce damage. Not bad, but I think it's weak to slashing, so there's no particular benefit in trying to use this. It's just sort of splits the damage to 2 and lacks a debuff. Falling Spray, Fire, can forget about it. Confusion would potentially work, although Domination is the one that it's hardest to resist. So I don't think Confusion will work. Nine individual projectiles. Paralysis will not work. Naturally, I'll try, but I think he has petrification immunity. I think that includes paralysis immunity. If it doesn't, it seems that it should. Otherwise, you can again use the paralysis to get your foot between the door, and then the fight is over. I don't think it'll go quite so smoothly. There was they're cold attack scrolls. I seem to have recall seeing them, but I can't make them. I must have imagined. Don't see any. Right, I must have imagined it. No, it's the traps. I'm thinking of the traps. Right, I don't know. We don't have to fight the fucker yet, so maybe not think about it too much. Then we can add a lot of food items to get things going our way. Extra might, extra intelligence. The cost is a little bit of perception, but that's okay. Five gaze of Adrogan traps. Right. No point wondering about these. But our quick item slots are going to be very full. Potions are basically worthless. Don't have slots to waste them on. I'm not even sure if I should have this. We have the healing ability through other means, and to be perfectly honest, I don't think we're gonna really survive. We get hit a lot by the dragon. So it doesn't matter if we have the major endurance, we need to be able to do damage. Dragon Egg. Endurance, Resolve. No. Might and Resolve. But it doesn't last that long. Egg Dish would last twice as long. Also fairly worthless though. Duke's own beef loaf or dragon meat dish. Still, almost 3 minutes. But the fight is not gonna be over in 3 minutes. I don't know. Again, no point really mulling these things over, but I sort of have to. I need to know what basically might work. It's not an endurance match. That's something it can't turn into. I'll lose that shit. To some extent, I can't exactly just burst through and kill it, but it needs to be offensive focus. We need to be able to get rid of everything else as incredibly quickly. I cannot be cornered. If I get cornered, there's nothing I can do. I'm fucked. Maybe the talking to the Dragon Slayer gives us something new to try.